This is our lesson number 15. As you know that we are trying to cover the whole book in about 35 lessons. So we have already done 14 lessons, both in English and Urdu, and this is our lesson number 15 from the book, which is Study Guide 2026 edition. This is some information about the book. This is the latest version of the book, and here is some information. If you want to stop this video, stop it and have a look at that. Basically, we will be covering these 5 chapters in our course. You can buy the book online, you can borrow it from the library, because I teach page by page and I underline things as we go along, the most important things. So in today's lesson, we are going to cover very important topics. For example, the Union flag, the Victorian age, the British Empire, trade and industry, and I'm sure that this would be useful for you. So let's start with today's lesson. The Union flag. So this is the flag of the United Kingdom, but this whole page is about the history of the flag and how it came into being. So what happened was that in 1801, I will start with this. Okay, Ireland became unified with England. Before that, Ireland was not Ireland was a separate country. In 1801, Ireland became unified with England, Scotland, and Wales after the Act of Union of 1800. That's an extremely important piece of information. So in 1800, the Act of Union was passed, and in 1801, based on this act, Ireland became unified with Scotland, Wales, and England. Okay, this created the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Ireland. Now, this is the first time in the book that we are seeing the full name, or in this history. Okay, so things are coming together. So before that, England, Scotland, Wales, they were together, they were unified, and that's called Great Britain. But now the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Ireland is after the Act of Union 1800. One symbol of this union between England, Scotland, Wales, and Ireland was the new version of the official flag. So this was the official flag which was created to show that, okay, now these 4 countries are together. And I tell you that all of these 4 countries will have, apart from Wales, representation in the Union flag. The Union flag is often called the Union Jack. This is very important. Sometimes the question is, the Union flag is often called Union Jack, true or false? Or the question is, what is the other name of Union flag? So then you will have 4 options, and then you will click on the Union Jack. The flag combined crosses associated with England, Scotland, and Ireland. It is still used today as the official flag of the UK. So the flag was created after 1801, okay, and it is still used as the official flag of this country. So the things that I've highlighted here are the most important things, okay. The Union flag consists of 3 crosses. The cross of St. George, patron saint of England, is a red cross on a white background. So this one, this is the Union Jack, but here this is England's flag. Okay, so red cross, which represents St. George, patron saint of England, against the white background. So I would say the cross of St. Andrews, okay, patron saint of England, is a diagonal white cross on a blue background. So this is the second one. You could see the diagonal is this one, so white cross with a blue background. And the next flag, which is the cross of St. Patrick, patron saint of Ireland, is a diagonal red cross against white background. So see, these 2 flags have crosses in the same direction, going in the same direction, but they have got different colors, and the background is different. So now if you look at this Union Jack, so we have the white cross going this way, We have the red cross, and we have England's cross, which is at 90-degree angle. Okay, right. So these are, now what we learned in this one is about 3 countries' flags joined together. So where is Wales? There is an official Welsh flag which shows a Welsh dragon. Okay, that is an important line, and sometime you will have the question which flag has a dragon on it, which country's flag has a dragon on it, and then you will have to choose out of England, Scotland, Wales, and Ireland. Out of these 4, you will choose Wales. The Welsh dragon does not appear on the Union flag because when the Union flag was created in 1606 from the flag of Scotland and England, the Principality of Wales was already united with England. So yeah, that's one of the reasons, because Welsh flag is not represented on the Union Jack, because it was also already the part of Great Britain. So they did not feel that they should have a separate or representation of this flag. So now here we have got patron saints and as well as the flags. Now we will have a question about patron saints in the next pages, but every country has its own patron saint. Okay, so and the question would be about this: who is the patron saint of, for example, England? And then you will have 4 names, and out of those 4 names you will have to choose the correct option. Next. So now we will study the Victorian age. In 1837, Queen Victoria became the Queen of UK at the age of 18. This is a very, very important line, and you will have a question. You see that whatever I underline or highlight is something where you already or normally have the questions. I mean, how the question will come, I don't know, but there are different possibilities. For example, the question is, from this line, highlighted line, you might have a question: at what age Queen Victoria became the Queen? So then you will have 18, 16, 15, 14. So you will choose 18. Sometime the question is, Queen Victoria became the Queen of United Kingdom in what year? For example, 1837. Or sometime you will have the question in 1837, who became the Queen at the age of 18? And then you will have 4 names. So you could see that you know the information, and the question can come in any way. She regained until 19 I'm sorry, it's not regain, she reigned until 1901, almost 64 years. Her reign is known as the Victorian age. Okay, it was the time when Britain increased in power and influence abroad. That's enough. So she started her reign in 1901, and she remained a queen for almost 64 years. Okay, I mean, before that, it was the longest reign, but then Queen Elizabeth II, she reigned longer than Queen Victoria. So the next thing is the British Empire. During the Victorian period, the British Empire grew to cover all of India, Australia, and large parts of Africa. Now, this is important. Question is, which parts of the world were ruled over by Britain during the reign of Queen Victoria? And you will have India, Australia, and large parts of Africa, and one more country or one more place, and you will have to choose these 3. It became the largest empire the world has ever seen, with an estimated population of more than 400 million people. Yeah, you will have a question about that. How many people were living in the British Empire during the reign of Queen Victoria? So 400 million. Many people were encouraged to leave the UK to settle overseas. Okay, now very important things. Between 1853 and 1913, as many as 13 million British citizens left the country. So this is the number, and you should remember that. People continue to come to Britain from other parts of the world. This paragraph is important. Okay, for example, between 1870 and 1914, around 120,000 Russian and Polish Jews came to Britain to escape persecution. This line, this sentence is very important because it has got so much information. For example, between what 2 years Russian and Polish Jews came to Britain, or between 1870 and 1944, how many Russian and Polish Jews came to Britain? Or the question could be between 1870 and 1914, Jews, 120,000 Jews came from which two countries? And then you will have to choose two countries. So you could see that. I keep giving you these examples so you could see that how the question is structured. Many settled in London's East End and Manchester and Leeds. So these Jews who came from Russia and Poland, they settled in London's East End, Manchester and Leeds. Please remember that. People from the empire, including India and Africa, also came to Britain to live, work and study. Trade and industry. Britain continued to be a great trading nation. The government began to promote policies of free trade. Okay, so this is abolishing a number of taxes and imported goods. So this is the first time we talk about the free trade. Before that, trade between different countries was, under heavy taxes. So the government wanted to encourage free trade, so that's why they remove all the taxes. One example of this was repealing the Corn Law in 1846. These had prevented the import of cheap grain, the reforms. Now, one of the examples of free trade was encouraged during this time, during the Victorian age, and one of those examples was repealing of the Corn Laws in 1846, which means that the government removed every kind of tax on the trade of corn, and that is known as the Corn Laws in 1846. So you will have a question about the date and about what was the name of the law and all that stuff. Next paragraph. Working conditions in the factories gradually became better. In 1847, the number of hours that women and children could work was limited by law to 10 hours per day. So you can imagine that before that there was no limit. People would work 12 hours, 15 hours, 16 hours. But in 1847, the law tried to protect children and women at workplace. So the maximum number of hours they could do was 10 hours. Even you could see that today 9 to 5 job is 8 hours, actually 7 hours, because we have a break in between. So 10 hours was a very long day. Okay, better housing began to be built for workers. Okay, transport links also improved. I would start from here. Just before Victoria came into the throne, the father and son George Robert Stephenson pioneered the railway engine, and major expansion of the railways took place. Okay, so there are two people. This is important. Okay, the father and son, George and Robert Stephenson. So George Stephenson and Robert Stephenson, father and son, they pioneered the railway engine. And when they pioneered the railway engine, obviously the steam was already discovered or invented, or the benefits of steam was discovered. So the steam run railway, and because of the railway, things could be transported very easily and very quickly. And that's one of the reasons the British Empire grew in its power, because they could transport things, military equipment, people very quickly to different parts of the world and in the country. A railway was built throughout the empire. Okay, not only in England, throughout the empire. This is how strong their system was. And there were also great advances in other areas, such as building of bridges, and engineers such as Isambard, Kingdom, Brunel. So we will be talking about this. So they were very, very expert in building bridges and in railway. So these two things expanded the British Empire to a greater extent, because whenever you want to go and reach somewhere, you need better transport. And obviously, if there is a river in between, if there are valleys, okay, and if you have bridges, you can reach to the corners of the world where others cannot. Okay, so that's why these two things, basically the invention of steam, then the development of Bessemer process where you could produce so much steel, and then building of bridges and railway. These are main factors of the expansion of the British Empire. So one of the engineers, whose name was Isambard Kingdom Brunel, and he is mentioned here, and this is our last topic for today. Brunel was originally from Portsmouth. Okay, that's very important. England. He was engineer who built tunnels, bridges, railway lines, and ships. Okay, he was responsible for constructing the Great Western Railway. Okay, so this Great Western Railway, which runs between Reading, Oxford, Paddington, London, I mean, and other parts of the country, obviously. So he was the guy who built this, which was the first major railway built in Britain. It runs from Paddington Station to London and southwest of England, the West Midlands and Wales. Many of the Brunel's bridges are still used in today. For example, the Clifton Suspension Bridge. This is very important. Engineered by Isambard Kingdom Brunel, spanning the Avon George. This is in Bristol. Okay, and it's a beautiful place to visit if you ever want to go, and it's a huge success in engineering. British industry led the world in the 19th century. Okay, that's an important question. Anytime you have a date, that's important. The UK produced more than half of the world's iron, coal, and cotton. That's also a very important question. Could be, what did the UK produce, which was the half of the world's production? And then you have these three things. The UK also became a center for financial services, including insurance and banking. In 1851, the Great Exhibition opened in Hyde Park in Crystal Palace, in the Crystal Palace, a huge building made of iron and glass. Okay, so you will have a question about exhibition in some tests. Great Exhibition. When did the Great Exhibition happen? 1851. Exhibits range from huge machines to handmade goods. Countries from all over the world showed their goods, and most of the objects were made in Britain. Right, that's enough. The things that I have highlighted, these are very, very important things. Now, as always, please stop the video here and then try to find answers to these questions, and then go back and check your answers and see how many of them you got right. Okay, if you have any questions, let me know, and I wish you all the best. Bye.